to The Leak. My name is Anthony McCormack.
I'm Pat McCaffrey.
And I'm Pam Rana. In headlines this week, a court has ruled that tobacco giant Philip Morris has to pay the Australian government millions in legal costs after a failed bid to kill plain packaging laws. A Philip Morris spokesperson said it was only a minor setback. After all, what doesn't kill you only makes you continue to sell something that will.
Malcolm Turnbull has fulfilled every Republican's dream and met the Queen. The meeting apparently went well, despite some concern Turnbull would struggle meeting a head of state with a bigger house than him.
And Turnbull, hatless, was dressed elegantly in a dark press suit with a pattern tie, while the Queen wore the curtains from your beach house. And the Liberal Party's problem with women has been highlighted again after 5 men nominated to fill a Senate vacancy in Western Australia. You can relax though, because 55-year-old candidate Gabby Gasseb has listed among his skills and attributes that he is, quote, keenly receptive to women's intuition in particular.
No, you're not. Representation of women in the Liberal Party is now at the lowest level since 1993. 1993! That's when their favorite movie, Mrs. Doubtfire, came out. You know, the story of a lady character portrayed as she was meant to be by a man.
Melbourne commuters were thrown into chaos on Thursday night when a computer fault caused trains to stop altogether. Metro Trains apologised but confirmed this incident will have no bearing on next month's report, showing all trains ran 3 minutes ahead of schedule at every stop and smelled just enough of lavender to make it romantic.
On Wednesday, an article in the Daily Telegraph listed same-sex attraction as a disease that is apparently affecting 16% of young people. So, despite the Daily Telegraph's best efforts, teenagers are still far more likely to be gay than Daily Telegraph subscribers.
Malta becomes the 15th EU state to legalize gay marriage in a vote of 66-1. That single opposing vote, well, that was the entire Australian Parliament. But Malta only legalized divorce 6 years ago, so gay couples might want to hold off on entering into partnerships for life just yet.
And Green Senator Scott Ludlam has resigned after he discovered he holds New Zealand citizenship. Any chance New Zealand could retrospectively grant citizenship to Malcolm Roberts?
In recent weeks, the media's attention has been focused on internal divisions within the Liberal Party, which are so bad they would make even Afghanistan go, hey, Liberals, come down a little, all right? Most recently, there's talk of a private members' bill on gay marriage being introduced by backbencher Dean Smith. That is now the state of Australian politics. We have a private members' bill on what people can do with their members in private.
And Labor, news poll shows Labor leading 53-47, and now there's speculation that Tony Abbott is undermining the Prime Minister.
For a man representing the silent majority, he sure does a lot of talking. If he really wanted to represent the silent majority, he should just shut the fuck up. Or do what I do, have values and care about stuff. So what's Abbott's beef this week?
I think a big problem is that nobody really knows what the Liberal Party stands for anymore. I mean, is it a broad church or is it the world's worst game of Jenga?
Well, Abbott did promise there'd be no wrecking, no undermining, and no sniping. And I think we've got some footage of how that's going.
Separately, Senator Cory Bernardi has been making headlines with the new Australian Conservatives Party. And news broke this week that Bernardi himself has been invited to the Roseville branch of the Liberal Party to give a talk.
Yes, the event is apparently called An Evening with Cory Bernardi, which sounds like the world's worst sex dream. Bernardi will be discussing the topic, is the party over? Which ironically is what people ask themselves when he turns up to a social event.
This week, he compared his views to those of Robert Menzies, stating that if Sir Robert Menzies was alive today, he would be considering an alternative to the Liberal Party.
At the same time, Turnbull gave a speech in the UK to a think tank there on their favourite topic, the internal political philosophy of the Australian Liberal Party, and said Menzies always intended the Liberal Party to be a progressive centrist movement that unified the centre-right of Australian politics.
If Menzies was alive today, he'd be 123 years old and would have other things to worry about, like whether he could get a pension and a phone without a camera on it.
If he were alive today, I reckon he could break the stalemate, because according to Turnbull, the Liberals are centrists, according to Abbott, they're Conservatives, according to Bernardi, they're not Conservative enough. This is a party that is pleasing no one.
Maybe if the silent majority spoke up, we'd have a better handle on things. In the meantime, we have to look at what the confused Conservatives do have in common. Bad hair, dry fiscal policy, and massively shriveled dicks. Except for, of course, Julie Bishop, whose hair is always impeccable.
To say nothing of her dick. The government's planned path into internship program has attracted its fair share of criticism. In the spirit of fairness and balance, we at The Leak decided to take on a path intern. Here's what happened.
Hi, I'm Susanna. I'm really excited to start working at The Leak as a path intern. I've been watching the show every week since I learned I'd be working here, so I actually make up a quarter of their audience, so I'm sure they'll be glad to have me.
Closer. No, it needs to be closer. No, Susanna, closer. I said closer.
It's just, all we can see is your face.
If these plebs can't follow my cutting monologues, they can at least get lost in the twinkle in my eye, Susanna. You think people tune into this show to watch Anthony? No, no one tunes in to watch Anthony. He's a fucking invertebrate. The man looks like he got dressed at the tip.
After having been unemployed for 6 months, I'm really just grateful for the opportunity to get some hands-on experience working with some real professionals. So here's the script about the decriminalisation of drug use, and I think there's actually a few really salient points in there about how...
What is this?
It's a script.
Is this funny to you?
I hope.
You think this is some kind of joke? We don't want insider depth. We're looking for pie to the face. Jokes about the munchies. Stoners watching Adventure Time. Give me 5 euphemisms for weed. Stat!
The leaf kazoo?
No!
Green stuff?
This coffee tastes like my piss. Give me another dozen witty asides about asylum seekers by the post show. Rewrite the script.
Some of the things that they got me to do didn't really seem that connected to making the show, but I guess that's the great thing about the media industry. It's so unpredictable. Anthony, you need to warm up and
You want me to go out and perform for you all? Tell a couple of jokes about climate change? Who's Pauline Hanson offended? What's Donald Trump tweeted? I'm sure there's something. There's always something. Who are you?
I'm Susanna. I'm an intern.
You're neither. You're an errand boy, sent by a grocery clerk to collect a bill.
I did bring the chips and dips that you wanted, and I did pay for them out of the $4 an hour that I'm getting paid, so...
Oh, did you get the kind I like?
Yep.
The hummus. The hummus.
Anthony wasn't feeling so well, so he said I could do the audience warm-up. They said if I did a really good job, they'd actually definitely hire me for, a real job that paid a living wage. Anyone from out of town?
You suck!
Hey, I don't come to your place of work, and actually, where do you work, and do they have any jobs going? No. And it's...
A big round of applause, everyone, for Susanna, who is in the audience right now. We hope you enjoy the next 11 weeks with us. On that note, we'll be back after 2 minutes and 30 seconds. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back to The Leak. Joining us now is Lance Turnbull, The Leak's esteemed mouth correspondent. Welcome, Lance.
Thank you, Anthony. It's very mouth to be here.
What are you doing, Lance?
What am I doing? Well, I'm glad you asked, Pam. Why, I was just exhibiting a most toothular grin.
And why were you doing that?
But why was I doing that, you might ask? You see, a couple of months ago, this is what my face looked like.
Oh, Jesus!
Dear.
Oh, sweet, merciful Buddha. Oh, I mean, how unfortunate.
Unfortunate. Yes. It was a sunny April morn when it happened. I was riding my bicycle, as I often did in those days. I was so innocent then. Hadn't a care in the world.
Lance, what happened to your teeth?
Well, I fell off my bike and I landed on my face, Pat. Smashed out 3 of my teeth.
Oh no! What happens next?
Well, it was fine and it didn't cost a lot to get it fixed. Just kidding. This is a comedy program after all. No, I went to emergency at the Royal Melbourne Hospital where I was given a bed, attended to by a few doctors, had several x-rays done and was medicated until the dark urges went away. Also the pain thing. And this was all without having to pay a cent. But after that, I had to go to the dental hospital.
Ugh, don't get me started on dental hospitals.
I didn't?
Hospitals are for doctors, Lance, okay? Those tooth tradies are not doctors.
Well, actually, the government agree with you because once my treatment was in the realm of dentistry, Medicare stopped covering me. If I had landed on my jaw or my nose, any other part of my body, I would have been covered. Instead, 3 months later, I've only had 2 of the 3 surgeries I need and I'm already several grand in debt. Hi, Mum. Please don't comment on Facebook.
I suppose the argument would be, though, that the taxpayer shouldn't foot the bill for cosmetic surgery, though, right?
No, Pat, you handsome fool. You see, teeth are required for eating.
Exactly. Chewing is the first stage of the digestive process. I learned that in medical school. I was there learning about the entire human body in the same amount of time it takes a dentist to learn just about the teeth. That's like a month per tooth. Come on!
Yeah. So, as I was saying, the front teeth I have now are just weak temporary ones that they put on after my root canals. They're only designed to last a little while, so until I spend another few $1,000s on proper implants, here are just a few of the things I can't bite into anymore. My fingernails, apples, a block of chocolate, the neck of my first victim when the clock strikes 12 and the feeding begins, a slice of pizza if the crust is too thick. The list goes on.
So, are there no public options available?
Well, technically there were. I could have gone on a waiting list, but the average wait time to see dental specialists, like the endodontist I needed to see, is 14 months. So, if I'd wanted to go 14 months, unable to eat, in constant pain, probably have 2 of my front teeth die from bacterial infection, not to mention be effectively unemployable because I'd look like I'd been gargling meth, yeah, technically I could have waited.
Ugh, all because of a historical divide in the healthcare system.
Right.
You see, back in the day, your dentist could have been your blacksmith or an HR manager. The profession was never folded into mainstream medical practice. I don't know why. They're just outdated stomatologists. I mean, I can take out your gallbladder. Teeth are just outcrops of your bones. Give it to doctors. The real ones. We'll do it.
Right.
And we'll bulk bill you for it, Lance.
Yeah.
End the tyranny of a divided healthcare system. Dental care is preventative.
Yeah.
If doctors treat issues resulting from poor oral health in public hospitals, why don't dentists just work there too? I mean, come on, we're stronger together.
Thank you for coming in, Lance.
Bye, Lance.
And now this.
The youth. All over the world, there's a discussion about the impact of young voters on elections. In France, the youth vote helped Macron get elected. In America, young voters were captivated by Bernie Sanders. And in the recent UK election, young voters almost helped Jeremy Corbyn get elected, which proves that young people, like Mother Teresa, can almost perform miracles. And while young people are perceived as pushing their political agenda left on issues like gay marriage, climate change and income inequality, that doesn't seem to be the case here, which is weird because we have compulsory voting in Australia, so you'd think those young people have to get out and vote. So how are young people in Australia engaging with the political system? Well, rather than listen to what old people tell young people what they think about, I thought I'd come here to Melbourne University to speak to some actual young people.
They're on uni break.
Fuck! So I've come to this pub to speak to young people about what they actually care about.
I suppose the biggest one at the moment is probably the gay marriage one. Like, we're the last nation to really jump on that, which is kind of sad. The first time I voted for Liberal when Tony Abbott was up. And then in the most recent election, I voted Labor.
I think the biggest things I'm concerned about are inequality in society around things like healthcare, education, welfare.
Education and the environment would probably be the top 2.
Not too sure actually.
So, we're generally pretty engaged, and more diverse than you might think. But why isn't that reflected in national politics? I spoke with Matt Thomas, who was a convener with the Victorian Young Greens, to ask how young people can better affect change. People at party meetings are generally sort of an older generation. Sometimes they're retired. That's sort of easier for them because they've got free time. That's a tough thing though, isn't it, for young people who might be balancing study and work?
Yeah, and social media is another really important way that you can engage with politicians. You know, commenting, sending messages, but also retweeting and sharing can have a really big impact.
Wait, so memes can fix politics? The flaw is meaningful action on climate change. Is that a meme? Am I doing it right? Am I memeing? When you say that the major parties don't actually address concerns of young voters, do you have any theories about what they could do better to address those concerns?
Yeah, well, I mean, there's a really simple one. You could pass marriage equality in the next 10 days.
And that's an interesting point, because the young people I spoke to on issues like gay marriage and income inequality and housing affordability were frustrated at the slow pace of change. So why is that happening? Because what young person has the time or inclination to engage with politicians in the way they're used to? Hours on the phone to MPs explaining why climate change is a problem. Or what young person wants to spend hours at town hall meetings listening to Agatha complain that she doesn't want to live in a world where gay marriage exists because it'll affect her cat Tibbles. Or as another Agatha complains that climate change can't possibly be an issue because, you know, she remembers the long hot summer of '63. Or as a third Agatha complains that the tea has gone cold and all the free Monte Carlos have been eaten. So, young people's concerns continue to go unaddressed. And so it's no wonder that faith in democracy amongst our generation is lower than amongst any other. Something's got to give. Either our politicians need to take young voters' concerns more seriously, even if they're expressed on social media, or young people need to start rocking up to town halls and eating some motherfucking Monte Carlos. The reason politicians get away with declaring they should actually sell out our future is that we're not being heard.
Instead of trying to save the planet in 2050, the Queensland Labor should just concentrate on saving jobs today.
Maybe if I tweet and eat Monte Carlos at the same time? Or do I tweet about eating Monte Carlos? Yeah, that'll do it.
Hey Matt, will Monte Carlos taste the same in 2050 once the Arnott's factory is underwater? Hashtag, won't someone please think of the biscuits?
Yeah.
Well, this week the story was all about Australian content on the ABC, and if you haven't heard, let me paraphrase it for you. It turns out when you put less money into our ABC, you get less Australian content out of it. Now, quality costs money, and obviously there have been some excellent Australian programs being made in this country at the moment. What I want to know is, where's the crap? Because that's what we're missing on our screens at the moment. Crap. Specifically, Australian crap. Because sure, it's a golden age for quality American drama right now, but it's also a golden age for American crap. Britain is giving us Midsummer Murders and season 1 of Sherlock, but they're also giving us Bargain Hunt and all other seasons of Sherlock. The fact of the matter is television stations need crap. And with the current state of the Australian landscape, all we know how to make is well-written, flawlessly produced vehicles cast with provably exceptional talent. We used to know how to make crap. Remember Bob Morrison? It was a show about a dog who talked. It was crap. Remember Us and Them? It was very clear Reese Muldoon had no interest in the teacher from Heartbreak High, and yet they kept getting set up every single episode. Nowadays, what do we have? Miss Fisher's murder mysteries? Essie Davis is a national treasure. Makes me angry how good she is, and you should be angry too. Art is like science. Why? Because our government has declared war on both of them? Sure. But also, you don't run experiments to prove what you already know. Asher Ketty is a young professional juggling a complicated social life. I know I'll love that show. Stop wasting my time with quality. If our current television landscape was a garden, it'd be my Uncle Salvador's. Clean, pristine, beautiful, and absolutely nothing growing in it. In metropolitan Melbourne, we have 30 free-to-air television stations. Our TV diet should look like this. Instead of repeats of MASH, why don't we replay Hamish and Andy's first ever show on Channel 7? You know, the crap one. Or all the unaired episodes of Yasmin's Getting Married. Did you know Warnie had a chat show? And that was back when people watched TV. So why are we playing it so goddamn safe now? Put Doug Mulray and Jackie O together and see if they cancel each other out. But Anthony, I don't want to watch crap. No one wants to watch crap. But crap serves an important function. One of the golden staples of Australian comedy history, one of the best Australian shows ever, was the D-Generation Late Show. Let me let you in on a little secret. That show was crap. It was great, but it was crap. They filmed entire segments on a consumer handycam. Why do we remember it being so good? Because we only watch the best bits. That's the trick. You need a healthy garden to cultivate from. And a healthy garden needs a good fertilizer. So bring on the crap. Start with houseos and then go even further. Bring back hot dogs to late night. Film it on phones and light it with dolphin torches. Put something in a 4 p.m. slot that belongs at 11 p.m. Take a risk, Australia. In fact, as it stands, there's only one channel currently still happy to air something crap, and that's the channel you're currently watching. And thank God for that. Welcome back to The Leak, with recent census data revealing that around 1 in 3 Australians identify as having no religion. There's never been a better time for us to unveil our new segment, What the Faith?
News out of everyone's favorite city-state. The Vatican has outlawed the use of gluten-free bread for use in Holy Communion.
Apparently, blessed are the meek doesn't extend to the food intolerant. So next time someone asks for soy milk, you're okay to crucify them.
The Vatican is fine with genetically modified bread, though. You know, GM body of Christ, just like God intended.
Genetically modified bread lines the stomach. That's why it's okay to give wine to children.
Over to ISIS, who are having a bad time. First, they're forced out of Mosul, and now, upon returning home to Europe, they're finding employers are just a little reluctant to offer them a job. You know the old saying, if you want to be employed, don't lose your stronghold on the Northern Front.
To be fair, ISIS is more of a job for life sort of thing. I mean, their severance package is less a benefits scheme and more a contractually ironclad kamikaze incentive plan.
Millennials, consider yourselves warned. It's 2017. Employers care if your social media is littered with pro-Islamic State memes. That picture of you holding the severed head of an infidel will come back to haunt you.
It's probably best to just put a gap year on your resume and leave it at that.
Jewish groups are accusing Jay-Z of anti-Semitism over lyrics for his new song, The Story of OJ. Said Jay-Z in response, I love the Jewish people. They've got 99 problems, but a foreskin ain't one.
The controversial lyric in question? You ever wonder why Jewish people own all the property in America? In this case, the irreverent rapper is just plain wrong. Jewish people don't own all the property in America. Jay-Z owns all the property in America.
My word, guys, a rapper making a gross generalization about an entire group of people? I never. Let's just say Jay-Z has N-word privileges, but that doesn't mean he has J-word privileges.
And back to the Christians, Italian police raided a rather raucous party last month where they discovered a drug-fueled gay orgy in the apartment of the secretary of Cardinal Francesco Cocca Palmerio.
Woof. And here's the kicker. Cardinal Cocca Palmerio is a member of the department within the Vatican City that deals with clerical sex abuse. He's meant to be investigating these crimes.
In order to think like a blasphemer, first, you must become one.
It's probably a bit late to mention this, but maybe we should be treading a little lighter on this. After all, blasphemy is still illegal in Victoria under common law.
Hey, have I told you guys that I'm reading Cardinal Pell's explosive new book? If I did kill O.J. Simpson's wife, this is how I would have done it.
And on that probably litigious note, that's our show for this week. Please thank our correspondents Lance Turnbull and Susanna, our incredible intern, and of course our lovely host Pam Runner and Pat McCaffrey. Stay tuned on Facebook for our weekly live post show. We're off next week, but we'll be back live on Friday, July 28. Until then, I'm Anthony McCormack. Good night.
Yeah. I should do more shoots involving props.
You can take the headphones off if you like.
Really difficult biscuit to open without a pair of scissors. I don't even like Monte Carlos that much. So like that, maybe?